Hello, 6th grade. Today we are doing page 22 in the iReady math packet. We are working on understanding the 4-quadrant coordinate plane. And yesterday, or Friday, sorry, today's Monday, so Friday, whenever we went over this, I showed you where the 4 quadrants are located. It starts with quadrant 1 here in the upper right, and then goes around clockwise to quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. So whenever we need to plot these points, we always start with the x first, and x is the horizontal line going left and right, and y is the vertical line going up and down. So first we have point A is at -3, -2. Focus. Okay, so -3 on the x is right here, and then -2. We're going to go down, and then we put an x where those two, or a line where those two intersect, and then we're going to label that point A. For point B, same thing, x goes first, which is 4, and then y is -4, so it's going to go down to -4, and we're going to put a point there and label that point B. For number 3, C is at 2, 3, so on the x we go over to 2 and then up to 3 because it's a positive 3, and then we put our letter C there. Number 4, D is -2, 4, so we're going to go to the left, -2, and then up 4, so D is at this point. E says 3, -3, so we go over to 3, down to -3, and put our point there and label it E. For number 6, F is at 4, 0, so we're going to go over to 4 on the x, but then we're not going to move. Since it says 0 for the y, we just stay right on the x axis, right on that line, and then label that point F. So your graph should look like this, or your coordinate plane should look like this. Now, number 7 says if point E above in this coordinate plane is reflected across the x-axis, what would be the coordinates of the reflection? Okay, so find point E, and it's saying it's reflected across the x-axis, and that means it's just going to go across this line, across the x-axis, and it's going to be like it's mirrored. So like if you folded this paper like this, it would be in the same point. You folded it on that x line, okay? So we went down -3, and we were at 3, so now we're going to go up to +3, and it's going to be right in the middle of where I wrote my C, so I'm going to label C over here now. So it's going to be right there at 3, 3. So we're going to write that. We always start with parentheses and put 3, 3. That's the new point. And to explain that, kind of like what I explained here, it stays at 3 for the x coordinate, but goes up to 3 for the y. And like I said, it's just like picturing it being folded on that x line. You just want to picture the opposite on that. It's going to be the same distance from the x-axis. Okay, now number 8, imagine that one of the points given in problems 1 through 6 has been reflected. The reflection is in quadrant 2. So it's going to be in here, the reflection is. What are the possible coordinates of the reflected point? Okay, so if the reflection is going to be here, we could have C be reflected here. That's really the only one. F could be, but it's still going to be on that line. It's not going to change since it's already on the x-axis. So C, if we reflected it, it is at 3 above and it's on 2, so B2 -3 would be its reflected point. Okay, so then just to explain that, we would say that point C, which is at 2, 3, will be reflected to -3. Also, it didn't say in this question that it has to be reflected across the x-axis. So we could also take point A and it could be reflected across the y-axis and still end up in quadrant 2. So picture folding it on the y-axis now. So we are at -3 and then it's going to jump over to +3 for the reflection. So you would also want to include that. Point A, which is at -3, -2, will be reflected to what we have 3, -2. Oops, 3, 2. Goodness. Negative, let's see, where did it reflect to? 3, -2. I had it right the first time, didn't I? 3, -2. There it is. I was looking at the wrong point. 3, -2. Which is right here. Okay, number 9, Bradley says that if point B is reflected across the y-axis and its reflection is then reflected across the x-axis, the result is point D. Is Bradley correct? Okay, so let's look at point B. So first we're doing point B across the x-axis and then doing that point across the x-axis. So point B was right here at -4. So right here. Now first we're going to reflect it across the y-axis. So it's going to stay at -4, but it's going to be -4 on this side now. It's reflecting all the way across. So now it's in quadrant 3, and we want to see what it would be reflected across the x-axis now. So now it's at -4, -4, so it's going to stay at the -4, but it's going to go up to 4. So no, it's not at point D. It's close, but it's not the same, is it? So no, the new reflected point is at -4, 4. Okay, I hope that explains everything and you guys are able to check your work. I know a lot of you have been sending it to me through text or through Google Classroom, through my email, some even through Facebook Messenger, and those are all fine. I'm glad you're doing those. I'm going to try and get some grades recorded into Skyward today for those. Remember, it is either you get credit for having done it or you get an incomplete, and then you would have to make that up even up to next fall. You would have to make that up. So make sure that you are turning those in and getting credit. If you're working on the paper packet, you can go ahead and send me pictures, or you can wait and give that to me at our next pickup date, which I'm assuming will be close to the 15th. I'm not real sure of the date yet. So tomorrow, which is the 7th, Tuesday, we're going to work on writing and interpreting algebraic expressions, which is one of the last things that we did before we left. Some of you had trouble with ones like this where it says 12 more than 8.2 times a number in. So I'm going to do the first one with you to get you started. You start with this point, 8.2 times a number in. So you're going to do that first, 8.2, and then that would just 8.2 times in, or 8.2 in, and then 12 more than that is plus 12. I know a lot of you had trouble with putting the 12 plus and then this when we were still in school. So make sure that you're reading that as it's intended. So 8.2 times a number and then 12 more than that. Okay? So that's how you would do number 1. The others are going to be similar to that. And then number 7 is kind of a challenge question. Do your best on that, and then we'll talk about that tomorrow. I hope you guys have a good day. Get outside and get some sunshine in your yard. Please do not be playing with your friends and neighbors. Just go outside into your yard and get some sunshine, and have a good day.